Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, you are all welcome to today's session. I can see several so far, about 8 people are here. Yes, Raphael, you are welcome. And then Roland. Yes, Roland is here, Mr. Kupi. Ade, can you hear us? Are you in UK? I know of Garanto, that is Mr. Manamu. Yes, so yeah.
Yes, sir, I'm in.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Great to have you. I think several people are joining now, so let me take just two minutes to admit them, and then we can start rolling. How are you all faring with this coronavirus? Are your businesses going on well? Is everything okay? Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Others have just joined. Mr. Marut from, I know, from Malawi. Okay. Yes, Mr. Marut, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yes, a long time. How is Malawi?
Yeah, long time.
Yes.
No, very fine. How are the Black Stars performing there?
They are all doing great. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, doing well. Yeah. Okay. So I will just start. We will start. Others are still joining anyway, but we can start. Yeah, that's Etonam. You are welcome, Pastor Etonam. Okay, so the purpose of today's program is to help everybody to already, I know most of you, or let me say all of you, knows what a small, medium enterprises are, and then you also know how they operate. So I am not the expert that will lecture everybody about it. I know all of you have a higher knowledge than myself, but I am only facilitating. And then today, all of us will contribute and learn from each other. We will be looking at where we can get funding for our SMEs and how we can help build the team, and then also various sources, and then the technical support that we could offer. So this is the main reason for this program. And then also to introduce ourselves, especially myself, and then our small training institute that has been set up to help small businesses. So I'll go straight into the presentation. That is, I'll share my slide with you. And what we'll do is that if you want to understand something or something is not clear to you, just let me know, and then we will explain, or you just stop me and then we can clarify. I think it's better that way. Is that all clear?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Sir. Yes, thank you. So we are talking about Silverman Financial Literacy Institute. And then this institute has been formed specifically to help small businesses, to help in the training of small businesses, to disseminate knowledge, and then to guide people on their small business ideas, and also to guide them into how things could be handled. So I am your facilitator today. I am Siegfried Kofi Badago. So I'll be introducing myself in the next slides. Okay, so I will introduce the Institute first. It has a vision to enhance financial literacy and human capacity development with contemporary mixed learning model. So learning mode is such a way that it could be a classroom teaching, it could be an online teaching. We are combining the two. So that is why we call it mixed learning mode. And then our mission is to reach every enthusiastic learner with financial and personal business education so that it is tailored to their needs, okay? And then our core values are trust, innovation, leadership, continuous learning. What is our history? So our history is that we were born out of passion of dissemination of knowledge over the past 10 years. The one speaking to you has been involved in teaching and learning, and has led it to publication of various books in the finance, business finance, microfinance, and spiritual development. So out of this, in April last year, we registered Siegfried Silverman Company Limited. And this company has been licensed as a publisher. Therefore, we are a publishing company. So out of this, we also form the Silverman Financial Literacy Institute, which will be the training arm of Siegfried Silverman Company Limited. So that is that. And then what is the background of the one speaking to you? Siegfried was recently awarded, that in just this April, by Global Banking and Financial Review as the non-banking institutional CFO of the year in Myanmar. I currently work in Myanmar with one of the microfinance institutions as the CFO. And by dint of hard work, we have been able to bring a lot of funding from Europe and then other countries into our company. And then we noticed that we have been picked by Global Banking and Finance Review. And then they have brought in this activities. Yeah. So it is, that is that about me. I spent some 18 years in management consultancy, microfinance, accounting, and the rest from various countries, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Ethiopia, Egypt, Zambia, Malawi, Myanmar, and the USA. And I've also been involved in writing. And so we will show you a few of the slides, a few of our books, and then you will see. Okay, so these are some of the books that have been published already. So we have the 18 Laws of Personal Development, which is a beginner's book on how businesses could be set up and could be run. Then we have the Permanent Wealth. And then this is the one which teaches us on how we can build a sustainable wealth. And then we have the Microfinance Textbook. The Microfinance Textbook, which is one of the popular books so far of our work. And then we have the Embattled Earth, which is more of teaching us about spiritual development and then how things could be done in a spiritual way. Okay, so we'll proceed now. And then, yeah. Are we all okay with the introduction so far?
Yes, yes, we are.
Okay, okay. Yes. So we are going to move forward now and then give introduction to what an SME is. Okay. So what is an SME? I know many of you already know what an SME is, but it stands for small, medium-sized enterprises, just like that. But there is confusion in the definition all over the world. And therefore, I am bringing all those confusion into your front now. The confusion starts with the USA definition. It says that any enterprise employing less than 500 employees. You see, from the US point of view, if you have 500 employees or less, you are considered as an SME. Let's look at the UK. The usual definition of a small and medium-sized enterprise in the UK is that any business with fewer than 250 employees. You see, 250 employees, compare that to the USA, it's about half. But that is how UK has defined SME. Now let's go to EU. That means the whole of European Union. They have various segments, and then they consider a turnover of medium-sized enterprise, which is between 50 to 249 employees. And then it does not have more than 50 million in terms of turnover. Turnover means the total sales of the period, or let's say the total, not necessarily, mostly the total sales, okay? That is the one we call turnover. Then what about the small business or small enterprise? When your employee levels are between 10 and 49, you will be considered as a small enterprise. But the turnover should be around 10 million euro. And with micro firms, employees less than 10, and then it shall not exceed 2 million in terms of the turnover. Okay, let's go to Ghana and see how they have defined it. Ghana has also a different definition. So with an SME, a turnover greater than 200,000 and no more than $5 million. And then employees from 30 up to 99 employees. You see, so you could see that there is a various definition depending on the number of employees and then the number and also the turnover. Then in Myanmar, where I am talking to you from, the SME bill defines small enterprises as those with between 50 million and 500 million in capital. This time they are talking about capital and not the turnover. And with between 300, that is 30 to 300 employees. Then with medium-sized firms are defined as having between 50 million charts and 1 billion charts in capital, or between 60 and 600 staff. So did you see the confusion already about SME? So that means that every country has its own definition.
Yeah.
And its own way of describing what an SME is. Therefore, we cannot put all of them into one basket and define globally that an SME is the one which have only 200 employees or 250 employees or 500 employees and then have a so and so capital. But it is defined according to the size or maybe the nature of the country, how they categorize institutions or enterprises that are called SMEs. So that is the basic understanding over here. Now we shall proceed to the next slide, and then we will look at, okay, so let's look at this. Are SMEs beneficial to economies? Are they very beneficial at all? So this is the success story. There are a number of success stories around the world. At the moment, SME sector employs between 40 to 90 of employable workforce and contributes up to 50% of GDP in many countries. This is coming from the World Bank 2019 annual report, which means that their contribution is so immense that they cannot be ignored. And the reason why they cannot be ignored, you are going to see it in the subsequent slides. And secondly, they lead the innovations, startups, and business breakthroughs in all sectors. So if you are talking about most online businesses, successful educational programs, whatever innovations, scientific discoveries, majority of them come through the SME sector. Okay, and the third, the youth and the young adults easily get inspired by the leaders of SMEs. So in a country that you go, you will see that there are some champions in the country who actually inspire the youth. Majority are entrepreneurs. And the youth are always looking up to this sort of people. And then you will see them over there. And for this reason, every government, every country that you go, they have a program that takes care of the SME sector, depending on their definitions and things like that. Okay? Okay. Yes. So let's proceed. Okay, I know others are now joining. I can see a few people joining.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, but what are the challenges of the SMEs? What are their problems? What are their difficulties? That's what I want us to look at the moment. Then we will go to the funding segment of it. So the SMEs often have limited track record of raising investment. That is their number one problem. You know, the limited track record. If you have a track record at all, it is limited. And some of them don't even have it at all. So they find it difficult to attract funds from the banking sector or whatever sector you want, what sources that you want to talk about. And then because they are not able to earn a suitable return on their investment. Number two, you will see that SMEs also have non-existent or very limited internal controls. What do we mean by that? You see that most of them are not able to establish a system whereby there is control on their system whereby nobody can just go into the coffers of the company and take money or control resources in such a way that there is a proper accountability. So that challenge has been with the SMEs. The reason is number 4, actually. The reason why it is so is number 4. We will come to that. And then also the SMEs in number 3 have a few external controls. That means that they don't have regulatory bodies that control them tightly to make sure that they are accountable. And therefore, they can also hire and fire people at any time. And then it will be an issue. Okay, before then, I think Ishra Premium, you raise your hand. I believe you want to say something.
Yes, sir. I actually want to ask a question or something like that. So the first problem you raised was the issue in relation to the challenges to the SMEs. And the first thing was that it's not suitable for investors due to the number 2, non-existence of the internal controls and lack of the external controls as well. So could these be the reasons why they aren't really attracting the investors coming in? Or is that they are not ready to even change if the investors want to come in? Is it that investors don't want to go there because it's owner managed and they don't have internal controls and they are not willing to change? Or sometimes some businesses will be willing to change, and so investors will come in on their behalf, or in that case. So I want to know if these two streams can bring any change in relation to that.
Okay, thank you very much. So yes, as startups or young enterprises, they are not able to set up a system that will control the resources effectively, maybe the accounting and finance system, and having people in place to manage the financial system properly. Mostly, you will see that majority of the SMEs have a dominant leader, like a dominant owner or manager. And therefore, the owner can do anything he or she wants at any time. And because of this, they don't have a system in place, and therefore, the investors or the financial institutions are not prepared to risk their money, to risk their funds by placing money with them. So it also means that, or it presupposes that before these institutions, the SMEs will be able to attract investors, then they must be able to put a proper system in place, have a strategy, have a business plan, have people, qualified people in place who will be able to steer the affairs of the company. So without that, they are not able to raise funds.
That's right.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
All right. Okay.
I believe
So finally, yes, Ian said. So finally, it means that, especially for those of us on the stream here, if really you are going into SME, then it will be good that from the onset, you start putting in place your measures so that you potentially attract investors, and not to get there before you start putting things in place. Can I say that, or can I conclude that from the very onset, we need to go with not a dominant owner manage, but run it as a corporate organization, an S&P 500 company or something like that? Can we go with that mindset?
You can, but the issue is that you cannot start like a big company from the beginning. Definitely, you need the systems in place. For example, you must have an accounting software that takes care of all your recording, your transactions. You must have a finance person who will run these transactions for you, so that you as the owner is not in charge of everything. If you are into operation, or maybe you are into a teaching or whatever, you must have people in place that handles each part of the business. Something like that. Yeah, but if you take most of the SMEs, it's only one person who is doing everything.
That's right.
That they don't even have any system in place. They are afraid to employ people because they feel that the person might come to cheat them or to do something against them. Therefore, they are not prepared. And with this, they are not able to get the things that they are actually looking for from financial institutions. Yes, so your answer is correct, that they must put all those structures in place, but it doesn't mean that you must build a system like how a world-class institution should do it. Yes. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, so I think we have talked about a number of them already, and then maybe point number 5 is that they don't have also tangible assets to offer as securities. Tangible assets. So we will be describing, we have a solution to that. We will be talking about it, about how government also intervenes to help institutions to be able to get guarantees for funds and the rest. I talked about the qualified expertise already, and that is there. And then lack of systems and structures in place. Yeah, so some of these are the challenges of the SME sector. And that is why they find it difficult to attract. So any other questions or contributions before we proceed to the next stage?
I'm okay, sir.
Okay. I know someone is trying to join, but maybe there is an internet issue with the person. using Galaxy S10. Okay, so we will proceed to the next stage, okay? Okay, so we want to look now at the sources of, we want to look at the sources of funds, so the SME sector. Yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah. Hello?
Hi. Hi, Mr. Sifri.
Hello, yes. Papa, do you have any question for us?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, so we want to look at where do SMEs get their funding from? Okay. So the first point is the SME owner or family and friends. The second is the angel investor. The third is venture capital. The fourth is trade finance. Then we have factoring and invoice discounting. We have leasing, banking finance, and then listing on the stock exchange, crowdfunding, government grants and intervention. So we are going to take all this one by one, and then we will see how to work on them. We are going to take them one by one. Maybe I know some of you also have some sources of capital which are not listed here, and you can bring it out along the line so that we can look at them one by one. Okay. Okay. So let's move on. So we will start with the first one. You know, for anybody at all to start business, you must start from your own ideas and your own savings. That is, you don't just start a business for the first time, and then you rush to the bank to give you loan or to give you money. You must be able to start with something and keep it running until it is growing to a point where you need help. That is how all SMEs start. Majority of them start with the owner, and then therefore the owner put in some money, put the ideas together. Okay. Hello. I can hear some people laughing at the background. Where is the laughter coming from? It sounds like from Malawi.
Yes, Malawi.
Okay. You are welcome. Who is speaking, please?
Socrates Jerry.
Socrates Jerry. I can hear you laughing in Chichewa. Yes. How are you? Okay. Yeah, thank you for joining us. And we are still connecting, and we have started the program already. We have run through the introduction. We are now looking at the sources of funding. So you're welcome. So with the first one we are looking at now is the SME funding source, and then the first one is the owner, him or herself, will put in some money. And then sometimes you can also get money from your brothers and sisters or whatever, your family members. Maybe your father has some property that they try to give it to you, or some resources, and then you could use it to start. So with a starting of a business, it is not a good idea to rush to the bank to look for money to run the business. You must run it for some time and be able to manage it well before. And therefore, some family members are ready to support people to make it happen. Okay, so let's look at the next source. Okay. So what is an angel investor? An angel, not coming from heaven, not coming from the spiritual atmosphere, but is an investor. So an angel investor is a wealthy individual, or they are wealthy individuals and groups of individuals. You see, it means that people who have the resources, who are ready to put money into the business of other people. They actually start with either equity financing in a startup or early stage small businesses. I will be showing you a difference between an angel investor and venture capitalist in the presentation. But an angel investor, normally, they go with a startup. That is, you are starting for the first time, but somebody is already willing to put money into the business. And mostly they provide equity or second round funding for most businesses. So after your family and friends, where you started from first with your own source, your own resources, the next stage is to look for an angel investor. Still, I will advise that you shouldn't go to the bank. Look for an angel investor. So there are a lot of, or let me say a number of individual wealthy people who always look for businesses to invest in. And if you have a mutual agreement with them on how you can give them part of the business, or you make them partners in the business, or they become owners of the business, then they are willing to invest into your business. Okay, any question on this? Okay.
Generally, there is concept called seed funding, cloth A funding, and so where will that be covered, sir?
Sorry, again?
So generally, we call it as a seed funding, Series A funding, Series B funding, right? So
Yes.
where that concept will come?
Yes, so we have seed funding, Series A, Series B, and things like that. Normally, a majority of them also come from angel investors. It depends on where they are starting from. Yeah, so someone may be the one who will do the seed funding, which will be that it starts with you from the scratch. I mean, starting with you from the first point of you starting the business. Then you could go for the second round, or maybe a Series A or Series B and things. Then various stages. Those people normally come in to support the business. Yeah, that's how they come in.
So generally, the VC also will be called as Series A or Series B funding, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So we will be explaining the difference between the angel investor and then the venture capitalist very soon. Okay. So we will proceed. Okay. So another source which many people neglect or don't consider at all on few occasions are the trade finance. You see, trade finance are mostly the financial instruments that are developed by financial institutions or maybe banks to support trade or international trade. Majority has to do with the importers and the exporters. And then they are able to get their funding through various instruments. So when we are talking about the instrument, we are talking about bank guarantees, buyer's credit, supplier's credit, letter of credit. I know majority of you know about letter of credit, whereby you are about to buy the thing. The bank offers you a letter of credit to be sent to where you are buying it. So it offers some sort of comfort to the suppliers to send you the goods, then later you pay because there is some comfort offered by the bank through the letter of credit. So we also have the standby letter of credit. It also work in the same way, but it gives another level of comfort to the your supplier. And then we also have the export and domestic bill discounting. And we shall be looking at the discounting soon, so that this will be explained. Okay. So, yeah, let's look at this one. Factoring and invoice discounting.
Sorry, sir. I just want to ask you that the trade finance. So will that be for all the sectors, or is it specific sectors will be offering that trade finance?
Okay, let's go back to it. Not all sectors will be entitled to trade finance in the way I described it, but trade finance is quite common in most institutions. What with in the trade finance, you can also approach your supplier. The supplier offer you the goods on credit, and then later you pay for it. It's another form of trade finance. It's different from the importers and exporters type as we described here. Okay, does that explain it?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so in trade finance, there are various explanations that we can give, or maybe we can also call it business finance. And then, so your supplier can decide to give you the goods, you pay for it 3 months later. It's also part of trade finance. And if you are doing importing or exporting, you could approach the banks who could give you a bank guarantee or letters of credit. And then that is also falling under the trade finance. I mean, it helps the supplier to have some comfort that when they send you the goods, you will not refuse to pay. Yeah, that is the way we will look at it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we move on to factoring. It sounds like in a factory, but it is not. It has nothing to do with the factory, but it is like a factor. That's how we call it. So factoring is the business sell its invoices to a third party, and then the factoring company control the sales ledger and collects the debts. Okay, let me explain it point by point over here. You see, let's say that you have sold some goods to some people for 3 months. They will pay you in 3 months' time. But you need cash flow. You need some money urgently. You will approach a factoring or a factoring company or the bank. Then the bank will invoice, or the invoice that you have, the bank will take it and give you a portion, let's say 90% or 80%, depending on what is agreed. They will give you this, and then they will give you part of the money to you so that you can continue managing your business. Then this institution will now take over the invoice and then collect the money directly from where you are supposed to receive this money from. That is how it is. So that is the meaning of they take control of the sales ledger and collect the debts. Then we have the invoice discounting. It is the same way however, the business retains control over the administration of the sales ledger. So you could see that I have a diagram over here. We can have a look at the bottom over here. So you could see that on 01, sell and deliver product or services to business and issue invoice due in 30 to 90 days. Then number 2 is that you set up a factoring account only once after the, yeah. Then you move on to, you sell your invoice to the factoring company. Then the factoring company wires and advances to your bank account. That means they will pay a portion of this invoice that you had on hand. Your debtors pay the invoices, and then the payment are deposited into a temporary reserve account. Then the factory discount and fees advances wires the balance to your bank account. So it's something like that. You are going to get a portion of the money, let's say 90%, 80%, depending on what is agreed, directly from the factoring company. Then the factoring company gets the money from the one you sold your items to. Then later, the factory company gets the money from the institution that you sold the things to. That's how it is. So it helps you to solve a liquidity problem. That is when you are selling or you are dealing in business, it helps you to solve your liquidity problem. Okay, any question from here?
Let's go on.
Yeah, I have one. This is
Yes,
Rafael. On the factoring, just maybe one point, because COVID-19 time is a difficult time, and you may see some vendors basically that maybe you sign with a vendor in the March, let's say. He was supposed to pay in 4 months, let's say. So
yes.
you the factoring, and with the COVID-19, your vendor is bankrupted. So how you protect yourself, because you get the factoring, so you get the facility of from the bank, but the issue is you will not collect the money. So do you have a specific insurance on that?
Yes, so many of these instruments goes with insurance, which protect against loss or some of these events of eventualities. Yes, we know that with the COVID-19, we are not in the normal times. Most businesses are closing down as a result. Somebody promised to pay in 3 months' time, but the business has been locked down, or so the person is not being able to advance this money. But the majority of the cases, you have to take an insurance against this. And when it happens like this, then the insurance company will mitigate the cost or the loss in this matter, and therefore be able to come in. Yeah, but normally when this happens, the insurance companies will charge you higher in the next round and the next time around when you want to take such a facility, because they have been able to come in to restore you to a certain level. Yeah, but initially, yes, it is something that is possible. Yeah. Is that okay, Rafa?
Yeah, perfect. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. So let's look at another one. Okay, Inshira, you raise your hand. Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, also just a quick one on the, yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yeah, so just a quick one as well on the factoring. Also, it is the fact is that is the financial institution. It is not also all debts that they are going to be taking on. Like, it's not all businesses that will work and say, okay, I'm factoring my trade receivables or my debts, and they will pick it on. So aside from them insuring, they will do some due diligence on the possible or the potential debtor to find out if really that money is receivable. Then they can start with a process in that case, because the insurance company also does that. So they can determine the premium that you are going to be paying in case there is a default in relation to that. So in addition to the insurance, some due diligence will be undertaken before the financial institution or the factor firm will actually take on the debt in relation to that. So just that I want to add.
Yeah, to add, oh, okay, all right. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for your addition. Yes. So another is leasing. Leasing is very common. We all know about it. Leasing is a contractual arrangement for the lessee to pay the lessor for use of an asset. You know, so we normally we have lease agreements. You know, as you start a business, you might not have the resources to buy a vehicle, industrial equipment, or buildings and the rest. But you go and approach someone who have the vehicles and whatever that you lease from the person. But normally, you don't go directly. You can approach financial institutions who arrange these lease agreements. So I know very common, you will see vehicles being leased. It's very common in Ghana and also other countries. You can lease a vehicle. Instead of buying it directly, you just go and be paying a monthly charges or monthly fees for the usage of the vehicle. Meanwhile, you are just using it, but the ownership still rests in the institution, the financial institution that you are dealing with, or the person that you are dealing with, if it is an informal type of arrangement. But majority of the cases are the formal type, which are done through financial institutions. So in Ghana, for example, we have Lease Afrique, a very notable leasing company, and several of them are there. I know even in other countries, we have leasing companies or institutions or even the banks. So you can approach them and lease maybe a factory or industrial machine for your business. So you could see a small diagram down there. You see the lessor. The lessor or is the owner of the assets. Okay, so he leases the assets to the lessee. And then there is a minimum lease payments that is done on monthly, depending on whatever agreement. It could be a quarterly payment or monthly payment. So there is a lease agreement that is between the lessee and the lessor. Has anybody had any experience of this leasing before? I think, Etonam, you want to say something?
No, in fact, it's my first time of hearing this. I didn't even know it's here in Ghana.
Oh, okay. It's very common in Ghana with majority, even microfinance institutions have been doing a leasing. You will see some taxis, the taxis, and they wrote the microfinance institution's name on the taxi.
Yes, yes. Those ones, I thought the banks or the microfinance companies financed it for you to pay in installment.
Yes, so it is a form of leasing.
Okay,
It's a form of leasing whereby when you finish paying before the asset reverts into your name, but normally it's some sort of a financing to help you and all that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on. Now, bank loans, which is very common. Many people like to approach the banks for loans. Okay, I think there is a question. Inshira, again. Hello?
Yeah, I have one question also.
Yeah, hello, sir.
Okay, there is another person also, Kuranchi. Is it Kuranchi or?
Yeah, it's Crunchy, Ankara.
Okay, okay. Let's do Kuranchi first before we come to Inshira.
Sorry,
Yes,
please.
sir.
Mine is about the management. How to manage this business, especially those of us who are in abroad. We have distanced ourselves from our business back home. So, especially if you can give some advices, that will help us to manage those things back home. But I know maybe you come to that.
Yes, we will touch on it, and also the advice that we will give on how the businesses will be managed. Yeah.
Okay, then I will wait patiently. Yeah.
Yeah, but my first point of call is that when you start a business, you need to stay closer to it and grow it. Majority of people set up the business, they are far from it, they don't know what is happening until everything crumbles before they start to come and make some change. So it may be necessary that at a starter, you stay with the business and grow it to some point before you hand it over completely to others. Yes. Okay, Inshira, please. Yeah.
Okay, so before I come to my question, maybe I can just share some thoughts with Crunchy on the management side of the business issue. In addition to, as far as he is abroad and has the business in Ghana, what it means is that he may not be able to be here to manage the business, because certainly what it means is that the business is not earning as much as to substitute his living in abroad to come home. So what he can do is to entreat that, or the kind of management system he has to put in place and ensure that everything is integrated online. So he is able to get access to everything on a daily basis. So everything is integrated using QuickBook, using whatever softwares, Google Dropbox, or whatever it is in relation to that, so that every day you're able to monitor how much revenue came in, how much sales, how much trade receivables do we have, what is our cost of sales, what happened today in the business, what was it done. If that internal control is structured, and this also depends on the size of the organization, and then how much money they are willing to put in place for these kind of controls. But if he is willing, then they can put in place this digitization of the whole system, of the whole operation, so that he can be where he is and can still monitor the day-to-day running of the business. That way, when things are going bad, he will know it on time and will notify the resident manager to assist them in relation to that, or to solve the issue in that case. So that is something about that. Then my real question was,
okay.
So my question was on Mr. Etonam earlier mentioned about the vehicles and the names on it, and then you mentioned that it's a form of leasing. So I want to know, what's the difference between that and then hire purchase arrangement? So can we say hire purchase arrangement is also a form of financing to the organization, since that way also you are using the asset and you are paying the money in installments at the end, then you take ownership of the asset? Can we distinguish hire purchase from leasing? Is it possible? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for bringing it up. For surely a presentation like this, we didn't bring all the issues about it, but for the hire purchase, you know it already as a finance lecturer. So we have the finance lease and then also operational lease. Okay. Yeah. So this the form that we can describe. So the finance lease like this, for example, it is something that the ownership, it has to do with the ownership, and then also the longer the term and the rest. So you are about to transfer the ownership to the one who is the lessee for the usage of the assets, and therefore it is a form of a hire purchase. That is, after some time the ownership is transferred to the lessee. Yeah. And this is a very common type that we see among the taxi businesses in Ghana. Yeah, very common as a taxi businesses I see in Ghana and other places. Yeah. So there is other ones like the operation lease, whereby it will not there is no much a transfer of ownership and the rest. You only continue to pay for the monthly fees, and later on the asset go back to the owner. Yeah, so that is that. Yeah. Okay. I would like to talk about the bank loan, which has been the attention for many people. But as I said, there are various forms of financing for the business, and we should not limit ourselves only to the bank loans. With my experience in the financial services sector.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Yeah, with my experience in the financial services sector, I would like to say something here, that the banks will only come in the time that you might not even need the money. That may sound very awkward or maybe very harsh on the banks. But the fact of the case is that when you are starting a business, the bank will not come in to help you. It is only when the business has grown to a point whereby your cash flows are so good, that is where the banks are ready to give you money. Which means that you don't need the money. But here, that's the time they are ready to give you
the money.
Yes. So a bank loan, as I mentioned in the earlier part, they are not the first point of call. The bank is not the first point of call. That is why we started with family and friends. We started with angel investors. We talked with other ones, and then before we are coming to this side. So the bank loan should be a place that you should approach. Maybe as your business has grown to a point, your cash flows are okay. You have a collateral to back the loans and things like that. That is where it can be possible. But they are not the first point of call. Yeah. So basically, it's very common, but it is always difficult. And I don't want to give too many differences, but where I am talking to you from, I'm speaking to you from Myanmar, you will be able to take loan up to $6,500 equivalent from the microfinance institution without collateral. That is 10 million chat. So you can get a loan of up to 10 million chat, which is about $6,500 without collateral. But if you go to other countries like in Ghana, you cannot get a loan without a collateral. You must necessarily use something to back the loan, which means that every country also have its own way of protecting the loans or underwriting the loans. And for this reason, you must check from your country what forms of facilities are provided at the banks, what are their requirements, what are the interest rate, the duration of the loan, and things like that before you go into it. Then you will be able to get the loan facilities. But as I said earlier on, you must grow the business to some point before you can get a loan. Okay, Garanto.
Yes, I have one. One question. You just mentioned that without the collateral. So is that considered as an unsecured loan in Myanmar?
Yeah. So Myanmar has the microfinance law allow all microfinance institutions to give loan up to 10 million chats without collateral. So the loan is unsecured. But if you go to the banks, you must necessarily provide collateral. They cannot give you without collateral. That is the law in Myanmar. And I work in the microfinance sector, so that's how. So we in the microfinance sector give loans to our clients without collateral. We are not permitted to take collateral from our clients. And then
so is that any guarantee or something is required or not at all required? You just to be a citizen, that's all.
You must first be a citizen, and then you must have up to some point you must get a guarantor. That is, if you are giving you a group loans and the rest, we have what we call a group guarantee. Therefore, there is no guarantor. But if it comes to an individual loan, which mostly starts from about 1.2 million chat up to the 10 million chat, then you will need somebody to guarantee for you.
So in case of group loan, what is the guarantee? Someone would be there in the group as a guarantor?
Yeah, so the group members guarantee for each other. And that's what we call the solidarity method, or we call it the Grameen method.
Okay.
Yes.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Yeah, so that is that about, so you can take a loan for car, so car loan, travel loans, medical loans, educational loan, personal loans, housing loans. Those are various types of loans that you can take from the banks. But as I mentioned, you must first know that your cash flows are very good to meet the repayment. That is the principal plus interest that will be spread over a period for you before you go into the bank loan. Okay.
I want to ask one question.
Okay, please.
Yeah. Is it good to take a loan to invest into a business that maybe as we are in Myanmar, maybe like you want to invest it in Ghana or any other place? Is it good to take a loan and put into the or invest into the business?
Certainly,
Maybe.
I will say yes or no. The yes part is that you can take money from here and invest it somewhere else. If you know that the payoff, that is the benefits coming from that business where you are going to put it, will fetch the cash in such a way that you'll be able to pay back the loan at where you are staying. If that is the case, then I will say yes, it is good to take. For example, I know people in the UK who takes a loan from the UK, they send it to Africa to do business. Or in America, they take a loan in America and bring it to Africa to do business. So I would say yes. Yeah, and no aspect will be that maybe it might not be worthwhile because you are not there checking the business and the controls are not in the system. So it might not work. But whichever way, it depends on the payoff or the benefits that will come out from the business.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And any follow-up question?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go on to the venture capital. I mentioned it earlier. Okay, Mr. Garanto. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe this is purely to Ghana. So you mentioned that. Is there any like what is the structure in if you want to start a company in Ghana, like as a foreigner? You should have a local partner, or not required a local partner.
No, you can start. You can start any business that you want to do in Ghana, as far as it is not a retail business. For example, you want to be buying and selling goods on the street or whatever. That is reserved to only Ghanaians. But apart from that, maybe you want to set up a microfinance company, you want to set up a leasing company, you want to set up or maybe employment agency. It is allowed. You can do. But
so the 100% foreign stake is allowed.
Yes, 100% is allowed. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So let me add a quick one to that.
Okay, sir. Go ahead.
All right. It depends on the industry as well that you want to go into.
Yes.
Like you mentioned, retail, it's reserved for local Ghanaians. Also, if you are going to the oil sector, it is required that at least you have a joint partner with a resident individual or a resident company in relation to that. And there are certain minimum capital requirements, percentage of which you must own, and a percentage that must own by a local person as well. So when it comes to the oil, and there is no 100% ownership there, it's quite difficult. So you need to have at least a partner to be able to handle it in that. Aside that one, all other industries, all other things being equal, there are opportunity for 100% ownership in relation to that.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. I just want to ask you the straight away, like if I want to start a recruitment agency or human resource sector, so does it require like any local partner? No, it's not required local partner.
No, that can be owned wholly by a foreigner in relation to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Isra. So thank you for the backup. He's a lecturer in finance, so he's also in the ground in Ghana, so he knows better than I do.
No, thank you so much. Maybe I think it would be good, like people like you all together can give me and the clarification on that, sir.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, that is nice. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at the venture capital I mentioned previously. So the venture capital is a form of private equity. So you see, I put private equity over there. And then it's a type of financing that investors provide to startup companies and small businesses. So it also looks like the angel investors, but there are small differences. So we are going to look at the difference. Now let's take that Sam, the name of a young man called Sam, have a bright idea, okay? Then he asked for a loan at the bank. The bank rejected him. Then he went to see a venture capitalist, and then the name of the lady is called Sue. So Sue likes Sam's idea and invests $1 million into the business. Then the agreement is that Sam created the business structure that Sue owns 60% and Sam owns 40%. Then at some point, the product of Sam is doing very well. The business is growing. But Sue decided to sell. He noticed that the business has reached a certain peak. It has reached a top of the business. It has grown to some point whereby it's not generating the expected return it's supposed to be.
Oh.
Then Sam Incorporated will, or maybe Sue will sell his share in the business and sold it for 25 million. It's just a form of example. So for example, the Sue who came into the business as a venture capitalist will sell her share in the business. Or maybe there will be agreement. Mostly those agreements are between 5 and 7 years. That when the business bring in the money, they would like to move out of the business after a certain number of years. They would like to exit. So we call it the exit strategy in the business. So this all comes into agreement in the business. So that is how venture capitalists work. But let's see the difference between the two, as I mentioned earlier. So what is the difference between angel capital and venture capital? You see, if you look at angel investors, they are individuals. Majority are individuals, okay? And but if you look at venture capitalists, majority are a company. And then angel investor, because they are individual, they will give you some amount of money, let's say less than $1 million maximum, not more than 1 million. But venture capitalists could give you more. They could do more than that. And then also when you come to the involvement, you will see that the angel might not be deeply involved in your business. Let's say appointing a manager to be there or a board member to be there or whatever. It might not be necessary for the angel to put into your business. But for the venture capitalists, they may put in a full-time person or maybe a board seat. There may be a board member who will be on the board to supervise the company to make sure that you are running the business effectively. So that is that. And then also the angel will do what? Want to bring products to the market. That is, their attention is just to make sure that whatever the bright ideas that you have, the business that you have, you are able to bring it to the fore. Okay. And then for the venture capitalists, they want to scale existing offering. That is, they want something differently to be done in such a way that the business can continue to grow bigger and bigger. Okay. And then for the angel investors, they will invest in the long term. And then for the venture capital, also they are interested in long term, but they want large return on investment. And then they also want to go to public. We will look at the going public very soon. That is, they want the business to be traded on the stock exchange so that they can also trade their shares in order to maximize the return on, or maybe to have a capital appreciation of their shares. So these are the basic differences between an angel investor and venture capitalist. They all help the business from the start, but one will start very small and is an individual. That is an angel investor. Then the venture capitalist will come with a bigger amount, and majority are corporate institutions. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Are we on?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Can I add something or say something?
Yes, please. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So I actually had an experience with some venture capital firms in Ghana here about funding in relation to that. And one of the things I realized was that the venture capitalist firms are going to come in to a point where the business is already doing well. So if you are starting from scratch, venture capitalist firms may not be interested in looking at you in relation to that. But an angel investor may be willing to look at you. So the venture capital firms would want to come in when the business is large. And to be specific, one of the firms told me that a minimum revenue of the company should be $1.2 million in Ghana here, $1.2 million before they can invest. So if you just change that into Ghana cedis, that should be around maybe 5 or 6 million Ghana cedis annual revenue before they can invest. So that is the entry point. So realize that with the venture capitalists, they come in when the business, like the banks, like the way the banks, you mentioned the banks do earlier, when the business is doing well and you want to really take it to the next level, then they will come in. But the angel investor may come in from scratch and may trust your idea and may be willing to risk and invest in your idea in relation to that. So that is one thing that I have seen as well about the venture capitalists. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so angel investors would like to start with you and then also grow it to some point. But venture capitalists, as I said, normally they may come at some stage, and mostly like a private equity firms who will come in and they are looking for a bigger investment, bigger stake, higher return, and things like that, as you mentioned. Yeah, so this shows that the differences between the two. Okay, thank you. Yeah. A question, please. Yes, go ahead.
Years back, I had an idea. So with the name venture, I thought I could just go there, discuss with them my ideas, and then they could come in to help. But just as Inshira is talking about, they have to tell me something different altogether. And I realized that there is nothing venture here in Ghana, actually. They call it venture, but it's really not venture. You have to be established. Everything must go well. So just as you said, at a time when you don't really need their help, that is when they come in.
No, but yes, you are right. But as I said, you know, at every stage, there is a particular type of
Am I the only person having the network breakup?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, at every stage, there is a type of investment that you can cash it on. So, for example, when you are starting from the scratch, no business is you don't even have the structures in place and the rest. You might not be able to get help from the venture capitalist, but you can get help from an angel investor, an individual who might like to partner with you. So those are the ones that you will look for. And then you can also chance upon some government agencies, which I'm going to talk about next. There are some funds that are available in the government institutions, which can also support startup businesses. Those are the ones you can also use, and you raise it to some point before a venture capitalist will come in. Yeah. Okay. So, for example, listing your company on a stock exchange is a different ball game altogether. That means the company has grown to a certain size, and then the shares could be traded on a stock exchange. But before you could do that, we have what we call IPO, initial public offering. So majority of the institutions, or companies that list on the stock exchange, go through an IPO. It means that they will first offer their shares to some institutional investors in order to get the needed capital in place first. Then after some time, these institutions that have offered the IPO will now list the shares on the stock exchange. It's a big area. There's a whole lot of development. That is the highest point of corporate finance, actually. And you have to do a lot of writings, analysis, projections, and be able to convince institutions to take shares in your company. So it means that the company has grown to some point. You cannot start a business and just try to list on the stock exchange. And therefore, maybe this is not an area to consider for SMEs, but SMEs could be listed on the stock exchange if they have achieved or have attained a certain criteria in their management. And that is that. Okay. And then the one which interests me so much and I like, and many of you are already aware about, is crowdfunding. Crowdfunding. Crowdfunding could help, for example, the ideas of Etonam over there. You see, it's a fund that you can pull from so many people for a small amount. For example, you need just $5,000 to do some business, or you need only $2,000. You can do it through crowdfunding, and it's mostly done on the internet. And therefore, I put in some sources of where you can get them. You can try a Kickstarter. That is when you are starting a business. You can try Kickstarter and list your ideas over there. You might be able to get some help from them. Or you go to GoFundMe. Mostly it's an NGO sort of thing. Maybe people just want to help you to support your drive, or they'll donate some money to you towards a certain cause of action. You can also look at the Lending Club, and you may be able to get some help from them. In Myanmar over here, we have been dealing with one of the institutions from Japan for lending into Myanmar. They started about 2 years ago. It's very, very good. And we have approached them and had even a discussion with them. They start from $200,000. They can give up to $2 million. And then it's a crowdfunding platform based in Japan. And they have been helping most of the institutions in the Asian region to get funding. So maybe later on we can talk about this. And for those of you who have been looking for crowdfunding platform, normally they don't give bigger amounts, but it helps you to be able to get some money into the business. Yeah. Any question from this side?
I hope we will have access to your slide.
Yes, I could send this slide to all of you. So at the end of the day, maybe you can send me your email or whatever. Okay. Then I'll send them to you.
That is my wish too.
I'm very much interested in the pages you gave us concerning.
Sorry, is it concerning which one?
The GoFundMe Lending Club.
Yes. Okay. Okay, we are approaching the end. Anyway, we'll be finishing soon. So what about government grants and interventions? So majority of governments, that's institutions, also support startups. They give technical assistance, what we call TA, and guaranteed funds. So you can have a guaranteeing fund to support your business, and several of them provide venture capital funds or bank guarantees for chosen sector. Okay? Yeah. So we will be able to look at, for example, in the USA, if you are located in the USA, for example, you can check sba.gov, and then you go to fund programs and grants. They give a lot of grants in America. Then if you go to the UK, for example, they also have a lot of grants for small businesses. If you come to Ghana, there are some programs that you can get with the NBSSI. So I have the website over there. You can get the link. Either they offer you training or they guide you into the business, maybe business plan preparation or some help of the sort offered. And then they also have some business ideas that they support with some funds backing them. In Myanmar, for example, we have the rbfmyanmar.com. You can also get some grants or support from them. So I just chose four of these sources where you can get government grants from. And this will be able to help you. For Ghana, the NBSSI may not necessarily give you direct money, but they can offer you technical support, maybe to help you develop your product, or you get some people to inspect your product in order that you don't pay for it, but they help you in some form of other technical assistance. So any country, wherever you are, maybe in Malawi, in India or whatever, check from your government. You may have some sources over there. Yes, Mr. Garanto. Yeah. Hello.
Yes, you mentioned that in Ghana, the NBSSI. Hello.
Yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, you are able to hear me?
Yeah, we are hearing you.
Yeah, you mentioned in Ghana, yeah, NBSSI is able to help for setting up the organizations and brands, right? So would that be only for particularly for citizens, or any other country people also will be welcomed on that?
Yeah, majority of these assistance extend to the citizens first before they offer help to other nationals. However, it depends on the sector. So, for example, if the government wants to do some intervention in a certain sector or maybe a certain region, yeah, they will throw a challenge to institution to come in, and then either it will be a tax relief, some technical assistance, or startup funds or things like that. So it depends on the situation. So you may like to visit the website and find out how things are done over there. Somebody has raised hand. I cannot see the person.
So it's me, Insurance Premium.
Okay, Inshura, yes.
Yeah, I want to just provide some assistance to the other question that was asked in relation to guarantor's question. When it comes to that, there are a couple of relief available as well, not only to the citizens, but to foreigners, especially with the one district, one factory program by the government. What it means is that irrespective of who you are, once there is a business you want to establish, or you already have a business that is there, that we know that it's a business that is going to really employ a lot of people and help achieve the objectives of the government, certainly you will be able to go through the Ministry of Trade and Industry, and they would go through the process, validate the idea, and once it is something that the government can trust and something that returns will be in and will provide employment, you will definitely get some government assistance. And like the way Mr. Silverman mentioned, you may get some tax reliefs, and that is a good thing, like for 5-10 years. Or you may also get some government support in terms of funding, or even employees for free under the NAPCO program in relation to that. So there are some benefits available definitely as well for the foreigners. Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, so basically there are some benefits that you can get from these institutions. Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, we are concluding. So basically that's all about all that I have for you. And what I want to tell you is that our idea is to support businesses, small businesses, with online or offline training. We do facilitation of financial seminars and workshops for groups, associations, and institutions. We also do business planning or strategy planning, budgeting, funding, proposal, and business plan are done by us. We could also help you to link you to a funding source whereby you are looking for a funding for your business. We will be able to assist you. And then lastly, we have a counseling session whereby we counsel marriages and then also stress and depression management. Those are the services that we offer at the moment. If you want to contact us, our address is below, Silverman Financial Literacy Institute. We have office in Ledan Center. And then my email is below, ssilverman2016@gmail.com. And you can also WhatsApp us or send us Viber, and also visit our website and then see what we have in stock. So this is just the beginning. It's our first free online education on the SME sector. It's likely we'll be coming out with another one very soon. And then this is just to help people to understand what we do or what we can do and what services we can offer. Thank you very much. And any question, any contribution, any addition?
I would like to.
You were mentioning about the where businesses are listed on the stock. And
yes.
those not gotten there for knowledge sake. I want to ask, at what point do businesses decide that, okay, we now have got to that point where we need to be listed on the stock? At what point do you come to that?
Let me go to that slide again. Yeah. So the stock exchange listing has a lot of rules. You know, the rules are very stringent, I must say. But it may be that your business must be existing for at least 5 years. Okay. And then must have a certain minimum capital requirement. I cannot give you exact one, but maybe I can drive down to the specific to Ghana later on. You must have a certain capital requirement before you can be listed on the stock exchange. And then you must also have an audited financial statement. Your business must be audited for at least a number of years, minimum 3 years, before you can list the company. And before you can also do that, you must have a certain personnel on board. It's not just a one-man business sort of thing. You must have chief financial officer, chief operating officer, chief executive officer, people who are key to the business. So basically, it is, I must say that it is a medium-sized to large-sized businesses that are listed on the stock exchange. It is not for startups. And the startups cannot list on the stock exchange if you don't have any history or any history, like I say, minimum 5 years, minimum audited financial report, like about 3 to 5 years audited report and all that. Yeah, that's what I can say.
The second question is that, you know, you mentioned the various countries and how they define SME. Now yes. In Ghana, the definition given. So let's say in my situation where I employ, let's say less than 20, less than 10.
Yes.
Does it even qualify to be called SME?
Yes, your business, whatever, if it is a one-man business, it qualifies to be SME. But as I said, you could see that the definition varies.
Exactly.
It varies. Exactly. Yeah. So it's a employees less than 30. So for example, one person is also less than 30. 5 person is less than 30. Okay, and up to 99. Sorry?
You say Ghana is less than 30, that qualifies you to be SME?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, and then your turnover, that is your sales per annum should be at least $200,000 US. And no more than 5 million US. Then you are qualified to be defined as an SME. Okay, so you can contact the NBSSI in Ghana and find out more about the. Anyway, I provided the website, so you can visit the website.
I know about them, I think 2 weeks ago, and we've started having communication with them.
Okay, great. Yes, Mr. Garanto, yes.
Yeah, I just want to check with you in Ghana, like here in Myanmar, we have a DICA, right? So similarly, what is the portal where you have, direct access to, you can create your own company? Is there any such thing?
Yes, there is. So we have the Registrar General's Department. Registrar General. Also, that is the Registrar of Companies.
So we can do online without, physical presence. Is that so?
Yes, it's possible. You can do online registration.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I think the only thing in Ghana, along the line, your physical presence is also not fully 100% with your registration in Ghana.
Yeah, because it needs some payment to be done and all that.
Yeah, not only payments, but because there could be some other issues like your residential tax identification number and those kind of things in relation to that. So definitely, you may have maybe a resident here that will be able to handle those things for you locally, probably before you come in later on in relation to that. So that is also something that could be done.
Yeah, is that like, secretarial services kind of thing? Will they help on that, or especially we need to have some local partner on that?
It depends. I cannot really tell the full detail on that, but I think if you contact them, they may provide you with the requirements you need. But certainly you will need to have a business location. So before the registration, there has to be a business location. Now, if you have a business location, what it means is that certainly you are now a resident, a non-resident company having a permanent establishment in the country. So in that case, certainly, once you have a resident, a place of business, then you can move in there in relation to that. So that can be done either by yourself or by a resident person that you have here in the country who will do that for you. Once you get your business premises, then you will be able to use that, apply for the tax identification number as well, and then you will now use that to register. Because without the tax identification and then a resident, you cannot fully register the company. You can just put the name, register the name down that another person may not take in relation to that.
Generally, for that residential address, there is no virtual offices can be offered there.
There could be. So I think maybe later on, Mr. Silverman could assist you on that or something. I could assist you as well on that. Okay. There could be some virtual assistance that will be offered where you can get the premises, arrange all of that even before you come.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
But I want to add up. But before you register, you need a resident permit, and some bills like utility bills need to be added up. So I think you need to do it with true locals. Because when I register my company, back in Ghana, I provide though I'm a citizen, but I provided all those things. But as you're not a citizen, I think you need to do it through somebody who is a citizen to support you. Because you're not based in Ghana. And most people that I know who register business in Ghana, they always do it as a joint company registration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how it's done.
Yeah, that makes sense, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Welcome.
Okay. So I think we had a nice time and talking about small businesses.
Hello.
It's not been easy, but I thank you very much for participating. You can contact us and send us an email, and then we will send you the slide on this, or otherwise you can send me a WhatsApp also, and the number is showing on the screen down there, and we will be able to help you get the slide. And then okay, I think Roland wants to say something.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. So first of all, I would like to thank you for for the meeting. I feel like I learned a lot today, and thank you for that. So my question is: are you guys brokerage firm.
Oh, okay. As I described from the beginning, we have a publishing license. You know, from the beginning, I stated that we are publishers. Let me take you to the beginning, and then we have Silverman. You see, here we are. From let's go to the beginning. Over here. So we first are registered as a training institute. We are providers of teaching like this as we are doing now.
Okay.
Okay, this is a financial literacy institute. So it's a teaching and learning institute. Okay.
Counseling.
And then we before then we have a publishing company, and we have published a number of books in the past, and we will still publish more. So these are some of our books that are showing on the screen, which are available on sale. Even in Malawi, in Ghana, we have them in Myanmar here. Over in Myanmar, we have over 200 bookshops that are selling our books. So we are first of all also a publishing company, and we are licensed by the government of Myanmar as publishers. So it is upon this that we set up the Training Institute to help the literacy of people to understand businesses and understand how things are done in the business environment, like we are doing today, free of charge, not charging anybody. So that's what we are. Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
And
Where
then
are you based? Where are you based, please?
Myanmar.
It's in Yangon.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, that's the sports master. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And
great.
to add up, we offer counseling concerning people who have depression, especially the youth. You know, peer pressure disturbs them so much. So, Mr. Roland, as your teacher, you can equally connect some of the students. Yeah.
Sure.
Mr. Raphael. Yeah. So, you know, some children also go into drugs because out of peer pressure and depression. And then we offer counsel to marriage that are the verge of breaking, but we at least by the help of God we are able to help them stand. So these are part of our core and the vision.
Right.
So feel free, Mr. Roland, you can contact me so that we can work more. Actually, Mr. Roland is a sports teacher to our children in their school. He's from Cote d'Ivoire.
I noticed some people are here, they never say anything. Zimimpio, I can see you. And then Papa.
Oh, Papa spoke.
Hello.
Hello. Kalaba, Mikaola.
Yes, I'm more. Yes, hi everyone. I'm
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm more as an independent researcher in Myanmar. Currently, we do one project for recovery economy in Myanmar. So microfinance sector will be included. If I have anything, any help from you, please ask me.
Okay, thank you very much for joining. Zibimpio, Mikaola.
Yeah, I'm a fine, sir.
Okay.
My connection is so poor. That's why I'm I can't participate well.
I can see you at the beach side.
Yeah.
So maybe
it's not at the beach.
I think it's French.
It's a beach. You can see at the background the waves.
It's not at the beach. It's just the background.
Yeah.
Oh, it's at the beach.
And Ade is my executive director of Microfinance Association in the UK, but I've not heard him. Okay. And then Mr. Raphael is a French businessman based in Yangon. Yes. Thank you very much for joining us, all of you. And
Thank
we'll
you.
be
Thank you
talking
so
again. I noticed some people provided their email, so I'll work on the slide. Mr. Morut also is saying you provided your email. I've seen it.
Mr. Maurice, how are you?
Okay, thank you, Siegfried.
Hi, Samai.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. Mr. Kofi Insaibo. Thank you all.
Thank you too. Thank you very much for this insightful teachings and education. God bless you.
All right. God bless you
sorry,
all.
Sorry, please, Mr. Inshraba Premier. I don't know if I could get your contact, and then you can also add more, especially about the business management.
Okay, yeah. Once we are connected with Mr. Silverman, I don't know, we can contact.
Okay.
Yeah, I can get his number for you. Don't worry. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you very much, sir.
It has been insightful.
Yeah.
And thank you for taking the time. We would want to have more of these sessions so that you will help and assist us in various things that we are doing. It's very insightful. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you all. Have a great day.
You are doing well.
Okay. Yeah, bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.